I just got back from a 3-day intense mastermind in San Diego with some of the top team leaders and team leaders in the country. That was another seminar that I went to a couple months ago. I'm losing track of all the conferences I'm going to. But the point is that in this conference, in this mastermind with tons of high producing team leaders, we're talking 300, 400, 500, 600 homes plus, to observe the dichotomy between what they're running and what I see the average agent doing in my marketplace is astounding. And I know what's happening in our marketplace is something that's happening all around the country, where the average agent is running still a 20th century playbook for their business. Their business is running a 20th century playbook. What's the issue with this? Well, if any of this sounds familiar to you, consider this a wake-up call. Do you still rely heavily on traditional forms of lead generation? Expireds, FSBOs, cold calling, door knocking, print marketing, any type of print marketing. Do you still carry most notes on your clientele with pen and paper or in your contacts on your phone? Do you store your clients only on your phone in the contact section, or do you actually have a customer relationship management system? If any of that sounds remotely familiar, oh, and by the way, you are a one-man or woman show, meaning you do it all. You're marketer, you're prospector, you're administrator, you're negotiator, you're the showing agent, you're doing all that stuff yourself. You are running a 20th century business playbook in the 21st century. And the thing is that technology tends to be very unassuming. Like, you don't see change come. It's not like the dinosaurs knew that the comet was going to hit. You don't know it's coming until it's too late. And so let me just tell you, it's coming. And I see it. And for any of you who are out there that are struggling right now, whose business I just described, consider this a wake-up call. And by the way, if your business is thriving right now, I've got news for you. You are still vulnerable. I liken this to the idea of building a solid foundation. If you're building your business the right way, you're building it on a foundation that is going to weather incoming change, progressive change, versus building a home built of toothpicks and Elmer's glue. Because eventually that home built of toothpicks and Elmer's glue is going to crumble. It will disintegrate. And by not implementing new concepts, new ways of doing business into your business, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. How can the agent that I just described solve their issues? Well, there's a couple of ways. Number one, do it all yourself, which, by the way, it's fine. You can totally do that. And I think a lot of solo agents still have the ability, you still have the runway to make changes. Well, where do you start? Because the question is oh my gosh, if I'm running a 20th century playbook, where do I begin? Well, it starts with systems and it starts with operations, because that is going to help you stay away from the shit that doesn't matter and do more of this. Because the role of the 21st century agent is client to contract. The role of the 21st century salesperson is client to contract, meaning you're living within a very tight time frame. You're living within the time that you meet with the client for the first time to the time that they get into escrow. Everything else should be handled by somebody else, should not be touched by you. Commissions are getting squeezed right now. And agents are all up in a huff and puff and so mad about it. Well, guess what? The reason you're so mad about it is because it takes you 4 deals to get a deal. It takes you 4 months to get a deal. Because you're spending 75% of your time prospecting for new business. Well, you're spending 75% of your time watching Netflix, and then the other 75% of the 25% prospecting for new business. And the consumer knows that because YouTube exists. And people are starting to really wisen up, and they're starting to understand, oh my gosh, I'm not paying for this guy's time that they're investing to sell my home and help me buy a house. I'm paying for all the time that they're investing into finding more clients. Oh, just wait till that shit catches wind and people really start to catch on. And they're like, oh shit, like this guy's time isn't really worth that at all. I'm paying for him to go out there and find new business. Well, eventually that will no longer be the case, because the teams of the 21st century are aggregating leads by the hundreds in mass. And they're gathering them through a variety of different platforms. Number one, through online marketing. Number two, creating a digital presence that's allowing them to create a brand that's allowing them to bring in business organically. And then, oh, by the way, all of the websites that used to sell you leads, now they're giving them to the teams for a 35% referral fee. Uh-oh. Where does that leave you? Well, there's a really inconvenient truth that a lot of us don't really want to face yet, and that is that if you do not have an infrastructure that is helping you run your business so that you can go out there and talk to more people, aka show properties all day and negotiate and go on listing appointments all day, if that's not where you're living and you're spending the majority of your time on the other shit, you will not be in business in 5 years. Sorry. An alternative is to find a team or a platform to latch onto that's going to allow you to run your business and continue to be the kick-ass salesperson that you are. Because let's face it, the majority of agents, they got into real estate. Why? To show property, to interface with people, to go on listing appointments, to do the fun stuff, the stuff that everyone likes to do in real estate, not like push papers all day and like make marketing decisions and pick up the phone at like noon when you're at a showing with another buyer. That should get handled by an operation outside of you. And oh, by the way, when there's that operational backing and you know how to sell it, then getting full commission isn't that hard anymore. I can tell you, I've gone on, I don't know how many listing appointments in the last 2 years, well over 100. And I have lost 0 listings to a solo agent in that time. I've lost a few to teams. I'm not going to sit here and say my batting average is 100, but I've lost 0 to solo agents. Why? When I know I'm up against a solo agent, I know exactly where to go with it, which is while that solo agent is helping you prepare your home for sale, where does that leave you? They're not helping you find the buyer, which is what we're doing. So we have a team that's helping you prepare the home and get it all ready for sale and doing all that stuff. And by the way, there's 3 of them instead of just 1. And then while they're doing that, we're doing what we do best, which is network with other agents and helping you find the buyer. Oh. Well, all of a sudden, that solo agent that, helped you take a few measurements, it doesn't seem so enticing anymore because the value isn't there. The value isn't there. So yes, it's possible to have white glove service performed not by you. And this is where real estate agents' egos get in their own way of their growth. You want to grow your business? Stop thinking that you're the one that has to do it all, because that's actually the limiting belief that's keeping you from exploding. So, just some food for thought on a random Tuesday afternoon. Listen, you want to continue to build your toothpicks and Elmer glue house, by all means, be my guest, Mazel Tov. We all know where that's going to end up in 5 years. And if you don't see that, if you really don't see that, then at this point, there's not much else that I can do to help. But if you do see it, then figure out what solution is appropriate for you in your current place in your business, in your career, and just do it. This is Danny Gould, everyone. Selling Silicon Valley. Stay legendary, everybody.